Hello everybody, I hope you're all doing well and taking care of yourselves and ready for some more math. We got question number 15 here on our 2009 Fermat paper. That's the grade 11 multiple choice contest. On Monday, 10% of the students at Dunkley Secondary School were absent and 90 were present. Okay, that's how percentages work. They should add up to 100. On Tuesday, 10% of those who were absent on Monday were present, and the rest of those absent on Monday were still absent. Okay. Also, 10% of those present on Monday were absent, and the rest of those present on Monday were still absent. What percentage of the students at Dunkley Secondary School were present on Tuesday? Okay. I think it should still be 90 because we're doing 10% of 10%, but that's my guess, just based on instinct. And if you're someone who's confident in your instincts, then, circle things and move on and, you roll those dice. But what could we do? Well, I would say let's, get some, we could do some percents, but multiplying percents of percents is kind of weird. So what I might do is I might say something to the effect of, let's say there are S number of students. If you're someone who's happy, doing percents of percents, that's fine too. But if you're having trouble with this question because they're throwing in the word percent a whole lot, then try and shift it to something else. So 10% of S, which is 10 out of 100 S, or 1/10 of S, were absent on Monday. And 90%, or of S, which is really 9/10 of S, were present on Monday. And now 10% of those, let's reread this, 10% of those who were absent on Monday were present on Tuesday. And we want to know, ultimately, what percentage of the students were present on Tuesday. So I'm just going to figure out the presents. So 10% of the ones who were absent on Monday. So that's 1 out of 10S. So 10% is 1/10. So we've got 1/10 of 1/10 of S. That's 1/100th of S. So these are the students who were sick and are now coming to school. And then 10% of those who were present were absent, and the rest were present. So that means 90% who were there on Monday are still there on Monday. Okay? Because 10% of them have now gone home sick. And so that'll be 81 out of 100S. And if we add these up, we'll get 82 out of 100S, which is really just 82% of S. So my instinct was wrong, and it's actually B. So there's a nice little example of sort of a situation where your instinct sort of can fail you. It's interesting, the way it broke up. If it was 10% of... Yeah, I got confused just because they said 10% twice, and I figured it was taking the same percentages and putting them all together. This is not the case. Okay? It was 10% of one and then 90% of another, and that became the present student. Presence on Monday. On Tuesday. Okay? I don't actually need to know what percentage were absent on Tuesday, although I could work it out. 90% of those, so 10% of the absent ones went back to school, so that means 90% of 1/10 of S are still absent, and then 10% of 9/10 of S. And so that's going to be 9 out of 100S, and that's going to be 9 out of 100S. And so that's a total of 18 out of 100S. Those are the ones who, that's the percent that's absent on Tuesday. That's a nifty little question. Alright, so that was question 15. And of course, as I say, if you're comfortable doing percents of percents of percents, that's fine. I like to translate it into another sort of solid, more concrete number. Another thing you could have done is you probably could have just said, let's assume we have 100 students. That's fine too. There's nothing in particular that says we need to have the right particular number of students. I called it S. Somebody could call it 100 or 1,000 or something like that if they're worried about decimals. But that's question number 15. So up next, of course, question number 16. I'll see you for that next time.